and I'm a bit worried. It says 11-year-old baby contracts COVID. So 11-day-old baby contracts COVID-19 as Confuanochi sees surge in cases among children. All right, this story is on my journal line. Now, if you go to Star News, they also have another story there. Ashanti region active COVID cases jumped from 79 to 511 within a month. All right, and then this COVID matter is becoming something some way, So Citi newsroom, Ghana records 5 new deaths, active cases now 3,800. In fact, if we update based on what we have, probably going to get closer to 3,900 now. And then public health analysts are calling for a ban on mass gatherings because they're saying it's perfectly legitimate. And then we had Kojo Ajiman's report this morning from the ICU at Ridge where they're saying they need more support. Okay, so let's take the thing serious. Good morning, Kokui.
Yeah,
so
good
I
morning,
didn't want to
Bernardino.
start the morning on a bad note, but Charlie,
It's reality, isn't it?
Nathan, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Great to have you guys. Let's jump into the
Lovely
headlines.
outfit.
Yes, I do like
Click
what you're wearing, Bernard.
and dimples.
Really
Wow.
nice.
Click and dimples.
I like the color. That's what that's.
I'll
that's what
put-
I'm
I'll come and see you later.
I'll put the photo of the shadow
I know
on
they-
It's
my
nice.
Instagram
I'll
page.
need them to sort
And I
out
think
something.
Men should be bold. Look, you're wearing a purple shirt. You've got it's a nice shade of blue. Be bold to wear different colors, guys.
Small thing.
Yes.
Men
I'm
should
not
wear-
down white, blue,
But there's
maybe
nothing
white,
wrong
blue,
with
white,
white and
blue.
blue.
There's nothing wrong with white and blue, but switch it up once in a while.
Why do I get the impression that you want to tell somebody something, but you are using us to tell that person that?
The Daily Graphic. Comandante. Now, President Akufo-Addo said
Commandante.
Comandante Rawlings interred as nation grieves in unity. And you got images there from the gravesite, and Nana Kanu-Rajiman Rawlings also pictured there on the front page. President Akufo-Addo eulogizes Rawlings at state funeral. And election petition, Mahama files witness statements.
The Ghanaian Times says, nation bids Rawlings farewell as remains laid to rest. History will be kind to Rawlings, President Akufo-Addo. And Ghana observes International Day of Education.
The new crusading guide. Mahama finally files his witness statement, Asiedu Nketia and others to testify. Clerk of Parliament, Asen North MP, sued over Alban Bagbin's election as Speaker. Akufo-Addo eulogizes Rawlings as he bids him farewell, and the IMF is projecting 4.2% growth rate for Ghana in 2021.
The Daily Statesman also has its take on the IMF matter. It says IMF projects 4.2% growth rate for Ghana. JJ was a repository of sound advice. Akufo-Addo eulogizes late former president, and PALI commends Akufo-Addo for downsizing government.
The Chronicle. Anglo chief's threat ends in smoke.
Oh.
And picture. Charlie, Inke. I'm a best man. Dogbe Wenya is there laying a wreath on behalf of the Anglo state. Now, if we watched the footage, we saw that, and so he's pictured there. Now, also, Rawlings' beautiful daughters fight for recognition. And we're not talking about Amina,
These are not the known
Yasantwes,
ones.
and
This is not
Zaneto.
mischief, the paper is brave.
Charlie Chronicle. You're going to buy it.
But it's all over social media.
It is all over.
The Daily Post says Rawlings goes home. And they have lovely pictures, 4 pictures, 3 small-sized ones, and 1 big one of pallbearers carrying Rawlings' casket. And on the top right corner of the front page of the Daily Post says Jean Mensah was biased because of a close familial relationship with the Akufo-Addo's wife, Asiedu Nketia tells Supreme Court.
All right, the Business Finder. Businesses on edge as another lockdown looks irresistible due to upsurge in COVID-19 cases. Also, huge increase in electronic payments. This is coming from GIPS. And Ghana receives €9.7 million grant to improve access to power in the sub-region.
The BNFT has a number of stories on its front page. First, investors' appetite for infrastructure projects seen soaring. Weak macroeconomy puts BOG in tight corner over policy rate. GIPS platforms grow by 103% in volume and 16% in value. Real-time payment services post strongest performance. And Rawlings buried with military honors.
Let's take you online. Rawlings came through for me during difficult period in my presidency. This is Akufo-Addo's tribute. Also, Anglo traditional area to organize funeral for Rawlings without body. And then, of course, Victor Smith says Ghana's socio-political stability is Rawlings' biggest legacy. Meanwhile, Ghana scores average mark on 2020 corruption perception index. CitiBusinessNews.com. ASEPA kicks against nomination of Riata as finance minister. AGI charges enforcement agencies not to relent in enforcing COVID protocols, and give LBCs money to buy our cocoa seeds. Cocoa farmers appeal to government. MajorOnline.com. The story I read earlier, it says 11-day-old baby contracts COVID as Confanochi sees surge in cases among children. Also, UDS to be renamed Jerry John Rawlings University according to the president. And Asiedun Ketiak White to testify for Mahama in election petition. Star FM also starts with COVID. Ashanti region, active COVID cases jump from 79 to 511 within a month. Also, history will be kind to Rawlings according to Akufo-Addo, and UDS will be renamed after him. Globally, it's about climate change, it's about vaccine, and the WHO. Those are some of the stories making the rounds.
Okay. Well, obviously, big story. Yesterday, we all witnessed what happened. Commandante Rawlings interred as nation grieves in unity. This is the front page of the Daily Graphic. A grateful nation yesterday bid an emotional farewell to the first president of the Fourth Republic, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, whose remains were lowered into their final resting place at the new military cemetery behind the Burma camp. In the national capital, we almost stood still as Ghanaians and the international community came together to say adieu to the 73-year-old former president. The somber mood extended beyond Accra to other parts of the country. It was a fitting honor to the former military leader and democratically elected president, whose towering presence in the politics of the country spanned a combined period of 19 years, the longest by any leader in the country. It talks about the fact that there was tight security and that COVID-19 protocols were enforced. Many dignitaries attended, including the president himself, and we heard his speech, which I'm sure we'll delve into some of those snippets from that. So it also tells us about where the cortege went. And, you know, interestingly for me, that was actually one of the emotional parts of it for me. Through the whole thing, you know, watching. But when they got to Burma camp, for some reason, I started feeling a bit emotional. I don't know why. It was almost like we're bringing you home to your military.
Did you hear the death march?
Death match in Seoul.
I tell you, Charlie. They played it when they were leaving the Independence Square, Charlie, with violins and things. It was
But
you know, I don't know. Maybe we can discuss the funeral later. So let's just get. So pages 16 and 17 of the Ghanaian Times also have different takes from the funeral. Nation bids Rawlings farewell as remains laid to rest. That's one story. History will be kind to Rawlings. That's according to the president. Now, if you go into a bit of that, the president said that he. So a large part of the story talks about renaming UDS in honor of former President Jerry John Rawlings, even though the president said when he was alive he did not like the idea, but now the idea has found favor with his family and the processes will be followed and that will be done. Plus, Nana Kunedu NDC, Ghana Armed Forces pay tribute to Rawlings, and it's a very long story detailing the tributes paid by his wife and the NDC, the Ghana Armed Forces. His wife's tribute was quite strong.
Yes.
Very, very.
In fact, some interesting story angles here. If you go to my journal line, there's a story. I learned to understand how to be streetwise when I met Rawlings. So this is a quote from her tribute. And the story says, the wife of Judge John Rawlings, Nanaku Dajima Rawlings, has said she had to learn to be streetwise when she met the former president. In a tribute read on her behalf by her daughter, Princess Amina Rawlings, she admitted that she and her husband started on a journey that was free and easy in spirit. But disclosed that when she met Rawlings, she was green. And there was a lot she had to learn about real life, considering the fact that she had had overprotective parents. So that's the angle they put out. And then, of course, the Akufo-Addo angle on Citi Newsroom, he says Rawlings helped him out during a difficult time in his presidency. The president, Akufo-Addo, has said the former President Rawlings came through for him during a difficult time in his presidency. In his tribute at the pre-burial service of the late former leader, President Akufo-Addo described Rawlings as a repository of knowledge. According to him, the late president never denied him any advice when he needed it. And then he also spoke about the evolution of the relationship. Then let's do the quick Anglo one. So the two angles, what I have here is that they would have a program for him, even though the body's been buried. Story by Delali Adogla Besa, CitiNewsroom.com. It says Anglo Traditional Council, or Anglo Traditional Area for forgive me, is expected to hold traditional funeral rites for the late former President Jerry John Rawlings, even though it has lost its fight to have the body of the former president handed over to it. Speaking to Citi News, Secretary to the local funeral planning committee of the traditional area, Agbotadua Kumasa, said the absence of a body would not prevent them from honoring one of their own who was also a properly installed chief. Now, then the story then gives the details. So that's what we've been told. There's going to be a program for him.
Yes, and in the Chronicle, Anglo chief's threat ends in smoke. So this is how they have captured this angle. So contrary to the threat issued by the chiefs from the Anglo state that they would have nothing to do with the funeral of Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, they fully participated in the burial ceremony of their son, which was held in Accra yesterday, and they even laid a wreath in his memory. The Chronicle reported on Tuesday this week that the Anglo state was going to boycott Mr. Rawlings' funeral because they had not been officially invited. But in a sharp U-turn, the chiefs sent a delegation to the funeral, which laid a wreath on their behalf. At the colourful but solemn final funeral ceremony organized by the Ghana Armed Forces, 9 wreaths were to be laid. But because of the earlier threat, nobody expected the Anglo state to be part of the wreath-laying ceremony. So it came as a surprise when the moderator for the program called the representative of the Anglo state to lay the 5th wreath. Then President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo laid the 1st wreath on behalf of the government and people of Ghana.
If you go to page 23 of the Ghanaian Times, they have a number of COVID-related stories.
A lot of COVID
Now,
matters.
adhering to safety protocol, immediate vaccine against COVID-19, that's according to Dr. Mrs. Augustina Angelina Silverkin, the clinical microbiologist of the Kumasi Center for Tropical and Collaborative Medicine. Now, she has entreated Ghanaians to religiously adhere to all COVID-19 safety protocols, describing them, which is the protocols, as the immediate vaccine to fight its spread. Now, Dr. John Eko Otu, in another story, he's Deputy Bono Regional Director of Public Health. He's saying that parents and guardians should adhere to COVID-19 protocols to inspire their children to protect themselves and others around them in schools. And the Socialist Forum of Ghana says increase public sensitization on COVID-19. For them, they feel that if the public is more informed and educated, attitudes are likely to change.
I have a couple of COVID stories here. The one I heard red line. So 11-day-old baby contracts COVID at KATH, sees surge in cases among children. Story about him in Interior says the Confanochi Teaching Hospital in Ashanti region is recording an upsurge of COVID-19 cases among children. In the last 10 days, the facility has recorded 9 child cases. While the youngest among them is an 11-day-old baby, the oldest is just 14 years old. Head of Child Health Directorate, Professor Samson Entry, said the situation is taking a toll on the facility as management struggles to access space for children diagnosed with COVID-19 and other cases. We're having a huge surge in COVID-positive cases, and the disease initially, children were said to be spared. We had 14 of the whole of last year. But this year, just in the past 10 days, we got 9 cases, he told Joy News. The hospital is the only pediatric referral facility in the northern sector of the country. The COVID strain we are now having is also affecting children seriously. If less than 2 weeks old baby are getting, if less than in 2 weeks we are getting 9 cases, we don't know where we are going to go when the thing is full, says Professor Inchi. Then I have another one, Ashanti region, still 2 Ashanti stories. This is on Star News. The Ashanti Regional Director of Ghana Health Service has disclosed a rapid increase of COVID-19 cases in the region within a period of a month. During the Christmas festivities, COVID-19 cases tally in the region stood at 18, and however increased to 79 on 13th January. Now, speaking to Ultimate News, Ashanti Regional Director of Ghana Health Service, Dr. Emmanuel Tinkram, said COVID-19 case count in the region has sharply increased to 511, with Obuasi municipality contributing to 40 of the cases. He said 10 out of the total active cases were under critical care at Confanochi, receiving intensive medical care. The increased case is partially blamed on social activities such as funerals, church gatherings, among other social events, without strict adherence to COVID protocols in the region. So you've jumped from 18 to 79 to 511. So that's an exponential growth. Yeah. So it means the next one you hear will be 1,000 something. Then you are in your whatever. So then the final one, beware of fake hydrogen peroxide. This is FDA. This is Citi Business. This is CitiNewsroom.com. So apparently, they said buy only FDA approved hydrogen peroxide because there's fake ones on the market. And there's timeful reports that the Food and Drug Authority has asked Ghanaians to stop buying hydrogen peroxide not approved by the authority. Due to increasing number of COVID cases, the FDA said this has led to panic buying of hydrogen peroxide. It has warned that the panic buying has given rise to substandard hydrogen peroxide on the market. According to the FDA, this came to light during its monitoring with officers of the Pharmacy Council. Now, the general public is therefore being reminded to buy only FDA-approved hydrogen peroxide and other medicinal products, to be on the lookout for the mandatory FDA registration number on such products if they are manufactured in Ghana. Well, I don't know if the way the FDA sign is clear for everybody to see. So if in doubt, don't buy. That's what I'll say. I didn't even know hydrogen peroxide was a treatment for COVID.
Charlie, there's something that's been.
Is that the Trump one or?
Earlier this week.
So are they drinking it or what are they doing with
People
it?
are gargling with it, and
but earlier this week there were stories from a doctor.
Really, what I have heard is that if COVID is in your nose and you do the steam bath, it will go. But if it's in your throat, I don't know how it's going to go anyway. Anyway,
there's all kinds. There's all kinds of
we'll
things floating around
today about hydrogen peroxide.
Yes,
because a lot of people need to know.
People need to know. Okay, something also COVID related. Businesses on edge. This is in the Business Finder. The alarming upsurge in Ghana's COVID-19 case count and mortality rates has placed the business community on edge as business operators across the country dread the impact of another lockdown on the economy and their operations. Caught between a deadly scourge which continues to cause havoc and their enterprises, business associations this paper spoke to said that their members are praying the situation doesn't deteriorate any further. Conscious of the fact that lives once lost cannot be restored, but businesses can be revived, the business operators are ready to support stricter measures to stem the spike in cases. Okay, that's in the Finder. There's also a similar story about this where the Tema police, this is in the graphic, they also warned of a clampdown on people who flout the regulations, but they actually met with owners of nightclubs, pubs, cinema houses and beach revelers and just explained to them that if they flout the protocols, they will be in trouble. So the business owners also pledged their support to the police to enforce the protocols.
All right, let's go to the Supreme Court now. Election petition is back today.
Okay. On page 7 of the Daily Post, it says Mahama picks Professor White as Ketia to testify for him. Now, a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana and a leading member of the NDC, Michael Professor White, and the party's General Secretary, Johnson Asaidun Ketia, are the two witnesses testifying for John Mahama in the 2020 election petition. Meeting the Supreme Court's deadline to file his witness statements today, January 27, Mahama limited his witnesses to 2 instead of the 5 his lawyers had initially indicated while filing the petition. Mahama's lawyers failed to comply with the Apex Court's orders to file the statements by 21st of January and instead filed an application seeking to stay proceedings at the Supreme Court until his application for review of the Supreme Court's decision on an earlier application for interrogatories had been heard.
This will be live on Citi from 10 o'clock. Umaru Sanda and the team will be there. I wanted to give you 2 completely unrelated stories. So the first one has to do with cocoa. If you go to citybusinessnews.com, give LBC's money to buy our cocoa seeds. Cocoa farmers appeal to government. Story on City Business News. It says cocoa farmers in the Western region are calling on government to release funds to the local buying companies to enable them pay for their produce. Shortage of money at cocoa buying companies is causing a lot of financial constraints to farmers as they seek to settle their awards for school. Over the years, cocoa farmers in the Western region and Western North region have been relying solely on the income from their cocoa produce in financing their children's education. Now, even though there's free SHS, some of the money is still needed for provisions and other important things, according to the story. However, a majority of LBCs in the region have not been able to meet demands of their farmers in terms of payment for the sale of cocoa produce. Now, some of the farmers told City Business News that government should intervene, otherwise they will sell their cocoa to the Ivory Coast for money. Eja Obo, a farmer, said, "We've been in this difficulty since Christmas. Preparing our children for school following the reopening is a big challenge. We beg government, release funds for us. This year's yield is lower compared to last year's yields. We only got a bag or 2 for each harvest. We intend selling the cocoa to Cote d'Ivoire for money." Now, then there's another story which I wanted to bring to you. Ada residents protest over salt mining lease granted to Electrochem Ghana. This story is by Daisy Jacobs, City News. Some indigents of the Biawe clan of Ada within the Greater Accra region, who claim to be custodial owners of the Songo Lagoon, on Wednesday embarked on a demonstration exercise to protest against the mining lease granted to Electrochem Ghana to mine salt in the area. The mining lease, according to the people, did not take into consideration the economic plight of the locals whose sole livelihood depends on the lagoon. They say the lease will not only take away their source of livelihood, but deprive them of their land. They therefore embark on a demonstration to draw the attention of government to terminate the said lease. Now, the story then gives the background. Electrochem, a subsidiary of McDan, commenced operations on the Adan Songo Salt project site after a special commissioning ceremony was performed last year. Now, Adan Songo Salt site is said to have potential production capacity of about 1.4 million metric tons.
Okay, another legal issue brewing. This is in the New Crusading Guide. Clerk of Parliament and a Sin North MP sued over Alban Bagbin's election as Speaker.
Wow.
An Accra-based businessman has filed a writ at the High Court challenging the position of Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin as Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana. In a writ filed by Seth Yeboah, the petitioner, on January 26, 2021, he's seeking a declaration that the decision by the Clerk of Parliament, the first respondent, to allow James Quayson, second respondent, to participate in the election of the Speaker of Parliament, and James Quayson holding himself but as Member of Parliament elect of Asin North when there was in existence a clear court order prohibiting him collectively. Okay, this is a very run-on
Long
sentence.
story. So
basically, they're saying
they are not happy.
he's not happy that
They are
James
going to
Quayson
court.
was allowed to vote, and so he's taking the issue to court.
Okay, international stories quickly. CNN in the Republican Party, that post-Trump era lasted for 1 week, and they are back in alignment with Trump. If you go to BBC, this is a CNN story. If you go to BBC, AstraZeneca and EU seek to resolve vaccine crisis. Both sides pledged to work together after a reported 50 million doses shortfall for the 27. Charlie, people are talking 15 million shortfall. Where is our own? Meanwhile, WHO is probing its team in China to come out of which came out of quarantine. So apparently, some WHO officials went into another country with COVID. I mean, how is that even possible? WHO, yeah, in Wuhan.
It can hit anybody.
They took, the Chinese people said, no, we won't let you enter because you are bringing COVID to us. So, and if you go to Nigeria, they're also talking COVID. So, Channels Television lead story, Nigeria confirms 8,861 new COVID cases. So, Charlie, this matter, it's not going anywhere. The story by Channels Television says Nigeria's COVID recovery surpassed 100,000 on Wednesday, while the country reported 1,861 new cases. And then they give the breakdown. Lagos has 773, Federal Capital Territory 285, and then other states. It's almost like Ghana. So Accra has the largest, Kumasi follows, and then the rest. So it's almost a very similar thing. Urban places always tend to take the lead, which is why places like London also have a lot of cases. You know, there's an interesting article here. Could post-vaccine life mean we return to normal? The answer is not yet. So even though the vaccine is coming, they are saying still we are not going back to normal. I don't know. We just have to pray and also do the right thing.
Do the right thing. Okay.
Oh, man.
Very quickly, can we have one more? All right, this is a gender issue, okay? So in page 13 of the Daily Graphic, exclusive breastfeeding declines in Bono region. And this is a concern because of health implications it has. And that's the question that needs to be answered. So exclusive breastfeeding for newborns in the Bono region has declined from 67% in 2008 to 43% in 2017. A multiple indicator cluster survey conducted by UNICEF in collaboration with the Ghana Statistical Service has established. So the Bono Regional Director of Health, Dr. Kofi Amokodie, has expressed concern about the trend and wondered why, despite the overwhelming benefits of good nutrition associated with exclusive breastfeeding for newborns and appropriate complementary feeding, the percentage of its practice in the region is still on the decline. He went ahead to talk about the significance of the Start Right, Feed Right campaign, which is supposed to exclusively breastfeed for 6 months.
Did they interview the women? Because I remember when I was in the university, I did a research in one of the Eastern region where we were interviewing women about why they were not doing exclusive breastfeeding. There are many reasons.
There are many.
Some of them, for example, could be taking certain medicines that they feel would affect their children.
Yes.
Some of them felt that if they give the thing to the baby too much, things will fall in other shapes. So they want to plenty things.
There are lots of issues,
so,
Bernard.
This was research I did in 2000 or something.
The rate keeps declining, and the thing is, they're noticing that children are underweight. In the region, their growth is slow, so they're shorter than they should be for their ages. So they're saying that there are knock-on effects.
Food,
and good nutrition.
Hey.
So those who are height deprived, some is genetic, but some he is saying that for the average, their growth is a bit slow.
Okay, good morning. Thank you. I wanted to say good morning to my friend Sola Aklamati.
Oh.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show.